Have you ever looked at your life and thought, nothing is technically wrong, but something just feels off? This was me. I was starting to feel like I was losing it. Things were breaking down for me. But what I thought was actually a breakdown was something very different. I was actually waking up. Hello, if we have not met before, my name is Krista, and I guide and support women on their awakening journey. And if that is what you are experiencing, if you are feeling like things are shifting for you, you feel a lot of confusion, grief, and you don't even have words for what you're experiencing, but you know something is off and something's changing within you. I hope this video will support you and give you some clarity about what might be going on in your life. So I'm just going to take you back a little bit. So when I went through this myself, which I have personally gone through this, so I understand this, for about 2 years, I thought I was going crazy, and I did not understand what was happening to me. I wanted to spend so much time on my own, which as an introvert, even more so, I wanted to be alone a lot. I was experiencing a lot of confusion. Things that I had, built my whole life upon suddenly just didn't feel right. Things just felt off and I couldn't really explain it. I noticed that my relationships were changing. Friendships were just kind of splitting apart, not with a dramatic ending by any means, but relationships were just changing. We were just falling apart in a non-dramatic way. I would notice just things in my life that I never even questioned before, I started looking at a little bit differently. So this is what I was experiencing for 2 years until there was a moment where I actually kind of figured out that I was going through an awakening. And when I did discover that, I did have a little bit more clarity, and I felt a little bit more relief too, because I thought, okay, I'm not the only person that has gone through this. I'm not going crazy. Some of these shifts that I'm feeling, experiencing, I'm not the only one that has gone through this. And it did make me feel a little bit better. So if that's what you're going through as well too, I hope this video kind of supports you with that as well too. I think one of the big reasons why this can be so challenging is it's not spoken about. It's not like we're having conversations about this. And that's why we feel so alone and so unsure. And if we feel like it's us, like there's something must be wrong with us because this is what I'm experiencing. This is not something that's broadcast on the news. It's not a conversation we typically would have with our friends and our family. So that's why awakening can feel so it's hard to kind of even have words for it. You just feel different. You're looking at things differently, but it's really hard to kind of clarify with that as well. So I think nobody really tells us what an awakening feels like. So it's kind of has this mystery, and that's why we kind of struggle to understand what was going on. I will give you a little bit of a story, a metaphor to maybe guide you in what you might be experiencing. So imagine my glasses here. I've worn these glasses. Well, I haven't worn these glasses, but so I wore glasses for my entire life. And I wore the same glasses. And, I've lived in my house. I've looked at my environment inside my house, outside my house for all of my life. And then one day someone takes my glasses, which I'm not quite sure about. I'm not even aware of. They take my glasses and then they clean them. And then I put my glasses back on again. And then I start to look at my home again. And I'm noticing in the corners, there's these little dust bunnies, dust in the corner that was probably always there, but I just didn't know it was there. If I'm lying down on my couch or my bed and I look up at my ceiling and suddenly there's cracks in the walls or things I've never been aware of before. I'm like, that's interesting. I didn't notice that before. Maybe it's now colors. You look outside your backyard and you start to see flowers and these lush trees that have always been there, but you might not have noticed them before. Well, this is what awakening actually can feel like. Your external world has probably always been the same. Nothing has changed with that, but you've changed. Your perceptions change. Your awareness is changing. Your consciousness is changing. And so that's what you're starting to notice, that things that have always been in your life, suddenly you're a different person. The outside world really hasn't changed, but you've changed. You've got fresh eyes now, and you're starting to look at things a little bit differently. And that's what I experienced too. Things that I never questioned before, ways of being. I started to notice habits and patterns that I always did that I was unaware of. You start to examine relationships in your life, and you notice things, habits, patterns within these relationships that you were unconscious to. You never noticed, and you're like, okay, that's interesting. I've never noticed that before. But it's there, you see it, and you can't unsee it either. Once you notice it, it's hard to, you can't turn a blind eye to it anymore. You are aware of it. So that's really what starts to happen. And that's why there's a little bit of this dismantling of things in your life, and just things are shifting. And that's really kind of what is happening to you. So I like to think that what is going on is your awareness is changing. Your patterns are changing. Things that you could tolerate before that you never questioned just don't sit right. That's why oftentimes relationships do change when someone's awakening. The job you've maybe had for a long, long time that totally felt fine, suddenly you just can't do it. It just is like, no, I can't do it. Environments or people that you've always hung out with, they just don't feel right anymore. And it's not that anybody's wrong or right. It has nothing to do with that. It's just you might be experiencing a different perception now, and your consciousness is changing, and sometimes you just kind of gradually shift apart, and nobody's right or nobody's wrong, but that's what you're experiencing. So I will say, once I did figure out that what I was experiencing after having this confusion and grief and not knowing what was going on, once I did figure out that day after about 2 years or so that what I was experiencing wasn't an awakening, I was unaware of that at that point, I did feel some relief. I did feel some clarity. I felt like, okay, I'm not going crazy, and this is what's happening. And it made me feel more comfortable. It made me feel a little bit better about the whole situation and what I was experiencing. And so I'm hoping that this video provides that for you, because I know for me, it really did make a difference. And I'm not saying it was easy. Even knowing what I was experiencing, the whole process itself is challenging. It's not easy. And there's different stages of it, but it still can be very lonely. It can be, a lot of dismantling in your life, a lot of confusion, a lot of grief. But at least I knew, and I'm hoping you know now too, that what you're experiencing is normal for an awakening, and many other people have gone through this prior to you as well too. So that's what I really want you to understand with this. You're not alone. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. And I just want to give you really the encouragement and support to know that. And if things are starting to feel a little bit off and things don't feel right in your life, you might be in the process. And I want you to have that support and know what's going on. If this video resonates for you, please share it, give it a thumbs up, or subscribe if you'd like more information about this. I will be talking about this more moving forward, because I think there are going to be a lot of people moving through this, and a lot of people might feel a little bit lonely and not really have the clarity or the support in their not their small life, but in their life, in their personal life as well too. So sometimes watching a video like this can just offer you a little bit of support if you're feeling like you are a little bit crazy in the moment as well. So yes, put in the comments too if you are experiencing this too, and maybe what has been your biggest struggle through your awakening process. I'd love to know. I do read them all, and it just helps other people that might be going through this as well too. Thank you for being here, and I wish you all a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.